it was very interesting conversation by you. You know, we were also lost in what you were talking, that we also lost track of time. So the format was 10 and 20, so now it's 20 and 10. So we need to wrap it up in 10 minutes. So I just love the topic, and that is why I wanted to do this.
Thank you.
But what is your definition of humility in corporate sector? How do you define humility?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Humility, from the perspective of this book in leadership, is putting others ahead of ourselves. It is for the corporates, it is profits through people rather than profits at the cost of people. That's the definition of humility.
That's a beautiful definition, sir. So everything comes from, you know, some incident that must have happened, you know, some trigger that, or maybe some couple of more triggers that you decided that this is a topic that I need to write about. If you can, without naming people or without, you know, going into as much detail as you would like to, I give you that liberty. Tell us, you know, from where did this inspiration come in?
Yeah, like I said, some of those defining moments in my childhood, that's number one, I would say, and you could read it in the book. And then more recently, when I speak about the inspiration for this book, when I joined Taj, right, you know, in 2009, you all remember the terrorist attack on our flagship hotel, and then the subprime crisis. All these things had put a heavy burden on the company. And then what happened, you know, we wanted to reduce the debt and then, you know, revive the organization. And that's where we had put together a leadership development program, right? A 9-month-long leadership development program for our general managers. So the general manager is the most important or critical resource in the entire organization because he or she is the CEO for the hotel, right? So during this 9-month-long leadership development program, we have incorporated humility. How would we build humility in our general managers? It's not that, you know, they didn't have humility, but when it comes to humility, it's all about putting the customers ahead of ourselves and then serving them. It's, you know, that's what Taj is known for, or any other hospitality brand is known for. So we wanted more of that one, business acumen as well as customer centricity. That's where humility came into picture. And then, you know, we did some real life experiments, I would say, or interventions, which I have talked about in the book. And then immediately after that, I got a call from Wall Street Journal. Sue Schallenberger from Wall Street Journal called me up, and she said that I am doing an article on humility. Can you please give your, I understand that you are doing something on leadership and humility. Can you give your insights? Then I talked about, you know, what we have been doing and all that stuff.
So if I can interrupt, how do you connect a terror attack with humility? So why was this need to give a training in humility?
Yeah, it's the customer centricity, like I said. The training was around business acumen and putting our customers ahead of ourselves. It has already been there, like I said. It's not that it was not there and then we were trying to build it. We want to accentuate that and then bring it forward and more of it. Tajness, what we call as Tajness now, you know, it is accentuating that one. Okay. That's what we were doing through some real life experiences to the general managers, which were very, very interesting actually. So that's when, you know, I got this call from Wall Street Journal, and then I gave my inputs, and then, you know, they published an article, Humble Bosses or More Successful, kind of a thing. So what interested me most were the comments that were, you know, it was a global publication, we know that. So this is where, you know, different people talked about humility from different senses. You know, humility is not the same in different cultures, and from there are different perspectives. That's what interested me. I thought that, you know, it's what kind of, some people talked about Trump and some people talked about something else, and it was all over the place. And that was, I would say that, you know, one of the beginnings of the thought that, you know, I should put this together.
Which year was this?
This was in 2014.
So it almost took you 8 years, 8.5 years
yes, it is
from the thought
years.
to coming out with the book.
Yes.
it's a topic that would also require a lot of research, right? Because if it would be only based on your own experiences, that will be more autobiographical, right? So, what were the challenges that you faced when you were doing research for this book?
Yeah, certainly it's not an autobiography, by no stretch of imagination, I could talk about myself. There is nothing much to talk about me. The challenges I faced.
That itself is very humble.
Oh, no, thank you. The challenges I faced were, like I said, it's been researching on the subject and then also, bringing the thoughts of all these thought leaders and the corporate leaders into one framework, right? It's from the reader's perspective, the reader would like to look at a free-flowing narrative in the form of a framework. What is the big framework we are forming? So arriving at that framework was a major challenge, I would say. Second is, of course, sitting down and writing. I was talking about waking up in the middle of the night and then writing for 4 hours and then again going back to sleep and all that. So it's a massive, massive effort. Because this is my first book, I never knew that, this kind of a work is involved in writing a book. But having finished it, I think that, I'm going to do more of this because, it brings enormous joy, enormous sense of fulfillment when we do this.
That's inspiring. Maybe we all should also try writing something. We all try, but very few succeed. Sir, before I close this, my last question would be like, what kind of tips or advice would you give to people who work in corporate sector, who have been trying, who have understood the importance of humility and have been trying to build this craft? What can they do to have this instilled in them?
That's a very good question. See, the first step to humble leadership is at the thought level. Believing that there is a different form of leadership, it's not all about a heroic kind of somebody was speaking about Robo, I think Gopal sir. It's not Rambo, not Rambo kind of a leadership, that is needed for corporates to be successful. When we talk about leadership, it's all about others. Leading others is leadership. So in a way, humility is already imbibed in the definition of leadership, right? But unfortunately, the way the leadership has been looked at is, like I said, it is a Rambo style of a leadership. How could I, today I was looking at the newspapers, Economic Times, it says that, wrong decision on hiring and we are laying off so many people, right? You can't be so frivolous when you are a leader. So I would advise leaders to look at it from a different perspective and think in terms of making a change at the mindset level. That is the first step one needs to take. And the second thing is obviously, building certain characteristics at the attitudinal level and also, certain behaviors. And the research proves that, there could be transformation that's possible. There is transformation. Of course, if it is a narcissist, hardcore narcissist, it's better you let him go from the corporate rather than trying to change him. But otherwise, leaders can be developed as humble high achievers. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Murthy, for your time and the wonderful book that you have written. I would recommend everyone to pick up a copy as soon as it is out. And we would like to thank you again.
Thank you. And I want to make one last mention. So like I was saying, when I walked in, I picked up a book. And my dear friend Ashish Ambasta here, he is founder of Happy Place. He bought a book and said that, can you please sign it? That was a big moment for me, Ashish. Thank you very much. I think, knowing Ashish, he is one of those humble high achievers I have come across in my career. Though, he is much younger to me in age. I think that, thanks for that, Ashish. I acknowledge your presence and your support. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks God.
Thank you.
My name is Dharmendra Rai. Mr. Rajkumar Hirani made a movie called Sanju. It was a biopic on Mr. Sanjay Dutt.
Yes, I saw that.
And in an interview, somebody asked him, you made a biopic on him, so you have included characters who are most important to his life. And you are one of the characters. who is most important to his life. So why have you not featured, or why has a character called Rajkumar Hirani not featured in the movie? And he behaved, he said, oh, but that would be like showing off. And it was intended to be a humble gesture. Now, is this humility, or is it the height of ego? Because he is removing a character, he's being unfaithful about the movie, about the story of Sanjay Dutt's life, just because he is uncomfortable in portraying his name on screen. So is it humility or is it egotism?
I have no idea about Rajkumar Hiranandani, you said, right? You know, whoever it is. I have actually no idea. I saw the movie and I have my own views about the movie, the characters over there.
Yeah, but this is just specific to this.
Yeah, but I would answer this from this perspective. I think that we can never remove ourselves from the theme. It's not possible, and it's not correct as well. And especially when we are talking about a subject like humility, it's more of a cognitive and affective. It's an emotional, cognitive as well as emotional attribute that leaders carry. So when I interviewed all these 30 leaders also, the way I was doing it is as to how would they make me feel. It's not just these 30 leaders, I've reached out to many more. Some didn't have time to respond, some were abrasive and all that. I was experiencing all this, and if you are asking me about it, I am part of this book actually. My experiences I have narrated,
exactly.
Not only in the corporate life,
exactly.
even while I have done
because
that.
You felt it was relevant.
Yeah, no, I have talked about several of my experiences with the leaders in my 37 years of corporate life. Yes, I did.